BBC Whooniverse.
You're watching the TGM production.
Hello and welcome back to the main channel. Sorry there is no microphone today. Certainly it died just as I was pressing record. And welcome to a brand new episode of Whovian News. Yes, today's Whovian News is from the Doctor Who website itself, the official website. There is an advert on it currently, so I'm just going to represent that. There. Sorry if you couldn't see that. Now, this news came out on February the 19th, 2026, and we're going to read through the article. The article reads, experience the 8th Doctor's debut in stunning 4K, and well, as a whole host of special features. In 1996, Paul McGann debuted as the 8th Doctor in Doctor Who, a feature-length co-production between the BBC and the American Fox network, which is now owned by Disney. Fox Network, more commonly known as the movie, the TV movie, or as I like to call it, the TV film, because in the UK we call it a film, so I'm calling it a film. Thank you very much. No one can take that away from me. This 90-minute feature was shot on film, and now, for the first time, all 290 reels of original film, totaling at almost 2,000 feet. Yes, because it's in a cam, for anyone who doesn't know, and you reel it out, and it's, woo! And that's why I would have, I can see those numbers. I don't know how accurate those numbers are, but I can sort of see where they're coming from. I can picture it, which is the good thing. Have been pulled from the deep storage in the US and meticulously scanned over 21 days, then restored by Paul Vanzis. Paul, spell the way you spell Paul, space Vanezis. Now, why do we need to know it's 21 days? It's raining. Why do we need to know it's 21 days? Right, I'm going to ask you once more. Why do we need to know it's 21 days? That makes no sense to me. Makes no sense knowing that it's 21 days. It's not necessary knowledge. Keep that for the documentaries. Keep that for the behind the scenes stuff. I don't want to know it's 21 days in the press release. Thank you. It's wasting precious time. To provide a definitive 4K experience, the movie has never looked or sounded so good, with a 24-frame transfer to match the original film rushes, immersed surround sound rebuilt from the original raw sound elements. Also starring Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor, Delphine, Ashbrook, Grace, Eric Roberts, the Master, Yi Jin Toso, spelled Y-E-E space J-E-E space T-S-O, who played a Chung-Li. The TV movie sees the Doctor's regeneration trigger on an operation table with surgical Grace Holloway. Yes, Grace Holloway was one of the best names. It's like, right, Doctor, what's your name, love? It's Grace Holloway. Right, Grace Holloway. You know, there's a song by Benny Hill called Ernie, the fastest mocha. Ernie, the fastest mocha in the West. Right, ready for this? So it's Grace Holloway, the greatest surgeon in America. Grace Holloway. See, Ernie is how it goes. Ernie, Grace Holloway. It works. It's a songable name. I thought, right, and I'm going to get back to that article in a second. I thought Grace Holloway was fantastic as a name for a companion, even though she might not be the best companion. Now, having said this, There is some questions us Doctor Who fans have, and I'll address those after. Even though Whovian News is supposed to be a news-based programme, I'm going to add some opinion at the end of this one, because we're trying to develop the format, and we're on an Osmo Pocket 3, which means if I do that, and if I do that, it follows me. So we've sort of got to get use out of that whilst we're filming that. Anyway, back to what I was saying, with Surgeon Grace Holloway accompanying the new Doctor on an epic adventure to prevent the Master from stealing the Doctor's future lives. Yes. Then we've got the trailer, which to me looks stunning. This new release is available on 4K in a limited edition steelbook with exclusive artwork as well as standard Blu-ray, and includes a host of special features. That's okay. So if you make a 4K release and you then chop it into Blu-ray, does that stop it from being 4K? In a sense of, is it not going to be as good as if you had a 4K thing? Because I'm considering getting it, but I don't currently own a 4K DVD player. I own a Blu-ray player to play Blu-rays, but not 4K. So will I get a worse experience? Will I not get a good experience because I've got just because standard Blu-ray edition, or do I need that 4K edition to get the best out of the product? If you know the answer to that, do let me know in the comments or wherever you're watching this. The extras, special features, if you will, include uncensored UK version. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently the censored version is on the iPlayer currently, the BBC iPlayer. Let me do that. The US broadcast version. So the way I'm going to watch it is watch whatever the press play button is, then watch it again uncensored to work out what the difference is, then watch the US broadcast to find out how the Americans watched it. Soundtrack in a Dolby Atmos 5.1 and stereo. That's good. In conversation with the director Jeffrey Sachs. That's also good. Sylvester and Janet Fielding featurette. What is that featurette is what I want to know. 3 new featurettes with Delphine Ashbrook, Eric Roberts, and Yi Tosho. YEE space JEE space TSO. Now that'll be the first time in decades that both Delphine Ashbrook and the last person have been involved in anything Doctor Who, because obviously Eric Roberts does the Master audio, he's on Master series. So does Big Finish now have the rights, or are able to acquire the rights to Grace Holloway, because they can now approach the BBC, because it looks like the BBC have got the rights to this. 2 audio commentaries, isolated music score, production info text, the 7-year Itch making of documentary, Paul McGann's audition tape, alternative takes, electronic press kit, and behind the scenes footage, TARDIS tour, and BBC trail, and much more. So, is there any documentaries on there created by Chris Chapman? Don't know. Will we have that documentary that is also released on DVD about the TV film? Will that be included in that, or are they going to add that to a collection box set down the line? I don't know. The artwork, now again, is the artwork done by Lee Binding? If so, it's gorgeous. If not, it's still gorgeous. I'm not going to disagree. Doctor Who, the movie, the ultimate new restoration, will be available to pre-order soon. Apparently, rumours is it's out today. Well, the rumour was it was going to be out tomorrow, but that was yesterday. So, what do we all think of that news? Well, I'll be perfectly honest. I was over the moon. I was excited. I was giddy with anticipation. And I think, yeah, because here's the history of me owning the TV film. I own the German version. There's a video of me opening it. It's absolutely priceless. It could be on YouTube Frame. Already though, it'd be alright, right type thing. Right. So yeah, I've got the other DVD. I've got the DVD and Blu-ray in English, and I've got, obviously, I'm now going to be getting that because obviously I want that for my collection. I personally, for years, adored it. Right. even though I've had a tricky past with 2005's Christopher Eccleston stuff, yes, Empty Child is a cracking episode, but I wasn't too keen on. I would say the worst Doctor for me was Christopher Eccleston. But over the years, I've got to enjoy Christopher Eccleston's work, and now I appreciate it for what it is. But having Paul McGann's TV film, I do think that it was when they had those days on W where they would re-air some classic Who, including the film. It was a film that captured that soul. It's like it felt as though you're watching a film that Tom Hanks is in. So let's say sleepless in Seattle is for me to say. That's what it reminded me of in the sense of it felt more 80s, it felt more what a film should feel like. Yes, Paul McGann being British was the difference here, but you watch all these clips online and you look at the way that it's produced, it sort of gives off interest, and it just seems more, I don't know, encapsulated. If you watch classic Who, you enjoy it for what it is, right? The BBC, classic, all this, right? I'm not going to go into detail on that. But when you watch the TV film, in my own opinion, this is Whovian news. We are not biased in any sense. We are not. We're like if the BBC was impartial, but I wanted to show my own opinion into Whovian news because yes, the news is excellent, but I want to just ask a few questions because in Doctor Who you've got to ask those questions. So is Chris Chapman involved in any extras? Why is a Who Peter not on there? Hopefully it's on a collection box set because Who Peter's on the DVDs. Why is that Lee Biden in the artwork? It more likely is because he's a genius in that realm. But the point is that I personally love the TV film. Yes, I'm not 100% sure I'm on board with Eric Roberts. That's due to the fact that doesn't seem sort of logical. The Master being this sort of gloopy thing, and then he can suddenly regenerate again now he's in this body. Right? I know the Master's been hopping bodies like it's no one's business for years, so it's nothing new. But to me, it just feels a little bit like, well, what do we do now then? How do we make sure that the Master still makes sense? Yes, the Daleks don't sound right, and that's obviously rights issues. And there's a lot of, I do think, right, if you want to look at interesting parts in Doctor Who's history, studying the TV film is on that list, because what the TV film does that not everything does, right? Not everything does in a sense of, you watch millions of documentaries about Doctor Who, excellent. They're all beautiful, they're all brilliant, they've all got their own good and positives, right? But what you need to think about here, and this one I want you to take seriously when I say this, is you need to think about what makes this different. This was pitched to America, for America. It's just that we enjoy it more in Britain more than America, right? That's the American audience watching it at that time. If you ask the main protagonist, who is an American Doctor Who YouTuber, she would say she absolutely adores it. So I'm not saying Americans now, is what I'm saying, right? I'm saying the viewership at that time, because when you look at the history of the TV film, the viewership was bad in America, but brilliant over here, but it wasn't designed for us in a sense of, it was aimed at making a US series. So I'm interested to see about documentaries. Weirdly, why is Janet Fielding on them? Right? Sylvester McCoy, yes, he's in the film. That's why he's in the featurettes. That makes sense. But why Janet Fielding? She wasn't involved in any scene in the TV film. She was not in it at all. So why is she in the featurettes? Is it because they've run out of collection box sets for her and they wanted to shove her somewhere? Or is it, I don't know. They've not explained what the featurettes is. So I would want to know why is Janet Fielding there. That's my main question. And that's a question I don't think I'll get answered immediately yet. Anyway, so personally, I am excited for it. I think it's got a lot of good elements to it. But I think that what's weirding me out about it is why Janet Fielding included in the featurette. I understand Sylvester McCoy, as I've said, because he's in the film, but I'm not understanding Janet's role in this. Unless I'm missing something, and it's been obvious from the get-go, then I feel a little bit stupid. But because I don't understand it at this moment in time, I need someone to explain that to me. If that's possible, everyone might be confused. Or they just might not want to tell us because they don't want to spoil what it is. I don't know. The geniuses, the people that create the Doctor Who physical media. I'll be honest with you, right? Got no Doctor Who on at the moment. That is equally the best news. And I think that's what's good about Doctor Who. Even if Doctor Who's not on air at the moment newly, with new episodes, we still get collection box sets, Big Finish audios, we still got all sorts in the world of Doctor Who. And at one point or another, this would have been the only resource in the world of Doctor Who, obviously. Big Finish was being born in that time period, and new adventures, books were being written, and magazines, everything was being done in that era, but in this sense of where we are now. So, what do you think of the collection of this brand new Blu-ray 4K release of the TV film? Are you excited? Will you be getting it? Let me know. Also, let me know what you think about why you think Janet Fielding's involved, because I'm a little bit confused on that one. But let me know. But that's been your episode of Whovian News. Format being updated soon. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to the official Tom Mason YouTube channel.